Hello and welcome to Otterwood Cottage, our 6-acre small holding in the heart of the Lincolnshire countryside. I'm Emma, absolutely delighted to have you along with us this week. Today is Monday, our first day back at work after our week off. It's early morning and I'm just having a little tramp around the field before I sit down at my laptop for the day to get some fresh air and just have a think about the week ahead and reflect on the week that we've had. We achieved so much last week. We're really pleased with what we managed to get done. I had a little secret list in my head. We knew we had lots to do, and we always try not to give ourselves specific things that we're going to achieve in a time frame, because chances are we'll always be disappointed and not get them done. But I did have a bit of a secret list in my head that I really hoped that by the end of the week we would have the first in-ground bed in and planted up with garlic, that we would have one of the 3 structures that we'd had delivered built and completed, and that we would have my daughter's bedroom decorated, because it's important for her to have that done and feel that this is really home for her. So we did really well, achieved almost completely the 3 secret things I had in my head as a list, as well as a load of other things that kind of side quests that came along as we were cracking on with the week. We took delivery obviously of the compost and wood chip, which you've seen. We built the stuff for the office, various indoor things, baking and cooking and making, and we had visitors for the weekend. So all in all, a really fantastic week. We didn't do any filming over the weekend. We were busy enjoying ourselves with my sister and her fiance, so no real outdoor work being done, but that was a lovely rest too at the end of a busy week. So we had a fantastic week last week. We're really pleased with what we achieved, and now we're kind of settling into the adjustment of what's the week going to look like. Now we're back at work full time, both of us, and combined with that, the weather has changed. It's much colder. We're likely to have some rain. And even more kind of important from a point of view of how much we can get on with outside of working hours will be the fact that it gets dark so early now. So typically we will finish work at between 5 and 6 o'clock. And by then, of course, it's already pitch black out here. So when we were in our last house and we were doing an awful lot of DIY, getting the place ready to be sold, our inclination was that we'd finish work and then crack on with a couple of hours of DIY before dinner. But now all the jobs are outside jobs. That's not going to be quite so easy in the dark. So we're going to have to just think through how that works. It may just be that we pop out early in the morning when it's a little bit lighter, or that we try and use our lunch hour to do the absolutely vital jobs out here. Or it may be that actually in the winter we have to think differently, and the weekends are when we get stuff done, and during the week we find indoor jobs to do. We haven't settled into that rhythm yet. And of course, once we've got animals, there will be things we absolutely have to come out and do in the dark, and that'll be fine. We'll get head torches and what have you, feeding animals, making sure they've got water, checking on their welfare. All that's fine to do in the dark with a head torch. But there will be things, gardening is just not practical. Building things, shifting compost, all that sort of stuff's not practical in the dark. So we'll think that through, we'll see how it goes. And as we settle into the rhythm, I'm sure all will become clear. Now, what we are going to try and do this week is a massive Tetris puzzle of moving things between outbuildings. And the reason for that is, last week when we were trying to get various things done on the small holding, we were running into the frustration of not being able to find particular tools, not being able to find the fleece, for example, to go over the garlic without a big search. As it turned out, the fleece we had wasn't wide enough anyway, but it took ages to find it, only to find out it wasn't wide enough. So we're having a bit of frustration with the fact that although we're completely unpacked in the house, And we have been here less than a month, so we can't be too hard on ourselves. The outbuildings are not unpacked, and they are also quite a jumble, so being able to find exactly what we need is proving difficult. So this week we're going to try and unpick some of that Tetris puzzle by moving. In fact, it might just be easier if I show you. So in order to do any of the gardening jobs outside, we need this garden shed to be organised so that we can find our garden tools. But as you can see, the garden shed is not at all organised and actually doesn't even contain only garden related paraphernalia. So in order to organise this, we need some space in the workshop behind me so that we can move some of the items out of the garden shed into the workshop. But the workshop is also a complete disaster and full of all sorts of stuff that either shouldn't be in here or needs to be organised. And in particular, we need to get this fridge and that oven into a different space. But in order to move the fridge, we need to clear this lot so that we can get it into the garage. And in order to move that lot, which is mostly craft stuff and sewing supplies and office supplies, we needed a ton of storage up here in the office to be able to bring it up. Thankfully, we did manage to do that bit last week. Which means that we could spend Monday evening unpacking into here. Which meant that by Tuesday evening, this space was lovely and clear. And all of that meant that by Wednesday, Mr. Wilkie was able to get into here in the workshop and start to clear us some space. Thanks, Wilkes. And all of that effort just so that we can have a garden shed that looks like this. I think it's worth it, don't you?